Just want to show you some other functions in defined files that you'll need to know, but you won't need to know them right away. I'm going to go back into that VG customers file that we just created and show you a little bit about some of these other things you see on the screen that you might wonder what they are, and I don't want you to be too baffled by them. We will be going into these in great detail later. One thing is, if you're in update mode, I press U to get into update mode, and I'm going to change something about this, and I want to see what's available inside defined files. I can look at the bottom of the screen to see the problems. I can press F10 for help. And there are, of course, pages and pages and pages of help for defined files. There are things you can do like block functions. You can move things around in blocks. You can find out what types of things are available in each field. For instance, again, if you go into this other field that's called type, which we haven't talked about, you notice that the prompts change as you do that. You can press F6 to see all the available types of data you can put in those fields, and so forth. Just look at the bottom of the screen and it shows you various prompts that you can do. There's another thing down at the bottom. We will be covering all this in later chapters, absolutely. There's a notation at the bottom that says key. You notice on the bottom right it says key. That is a legacy thing from a long time ago. And by the way, if I press D, I go to data, and then you say, oh no, all my fields disappeared. Or if I press K, I go back to key. What that simply was in the early days, files and memory was such that we could only store certain amounts of fields in one section in one file, either in memory first and then later, that translated out to on the floppy disks that were available back then, and hard disks, very small hard disks. The authors of Filepro decided to have two segments or two different files to let you put fields in two different files. One file called the key and one file called data. And the key was, at that time, all the things that you could sort on and select on. It meant something. Today, it doesn't mean anything at all. You get 32,768 characters per record, whether you put them all in the key section or all in the data section or in both. I would probably guess, I will guess, that you will never have a need to use the data section. That is strictly something you'll see in older Filepro applications built back in the 80s, and even by the 90s, people were not using it. They were converting any database that used to have a data section into just the key section. So you know what key and data stand for. When you press the D, it changes to data, and if you see all your fields disappear by accident, you'll understand what that is and not get too worried. Key just pressing K puts you back there. Okay, those are just some of the quick things. Just so you see a little bit of what's going on in the sections of the defined file screen that we haven't learned and won't get to right away. We will be getting to these things very shortly, but there are so many other things we need to talk about first. So let's move on to the next chapter.